All right, Bloody Vintage here again, guys. Wanted to show you my M1945 haversack here. Or I guess it's more of a field pack is what I would more consider this. This is in sort of full marching configuration. Got your M1943 entrenching tool. This is a 1945 dated US blanket. The big improvement obviously on these is the blanket straps, which was sort of taken from the pattern 1941 that the US Marines used in the Pacific, which I'll show you later. So this bag, I'll kind of deconstruct and show you a little bit more. But this was used mainly in Korea as the chief bag. It's an improvement on the M1944 field pack. I've done my research and I really can't find the differences other than sort of the attachment style for the lower pack was the main thing. And you can't see it under here right now, but there's also eyelets for your bayonet as well. And then, so I'm just gonna lay this out and then sort of give you a deconstruction of it. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna flip it around. And I'm just gonna show you how it attaches. This will be a lot easier to see on this. So as you can see, it's sort of a 2-point attachment at the front. And again, just like the M1928 haversack, you got 2 attachments at the back. Now the thing is, the suspenders or straps keeping this all together are totally separate from the field bag until you put them together, as you can see here. I'll do another video on that, or I might include it here. It's super not straightforward if you're just looking in, at them separately. I've had to watch a few videos of some guys who are more knowledgeable than me of it setting up, so I appreciate that. So that being said, the 2 attachments, points here, I have them super long and baggy because, again, I'm 6'3", 200 pounds, so this gives me a lot of nice wedge room in here as well. Okay, so I'll just lay it down and sort of deconstruct it for you now. All right, so before I get going on the pack, I just want to show you some examples here. So this is the Korean War example, which I've sort of tried to replicate here with the OD7 canteen, and these are the cross straps that I'm referencing. There's an M1944 and an M1945 strap. Again, I haven't been able to tell the difference, but I'll sort of show you what I think it is. And then as well, these are some good illustrations again in this book. I suggest you get this if you're interested. American Web Equipment. Get the 1910 and 1967. It'll cover World War I, World War II, Korea and Vietnam by Brawley there, or Braley. So you can see it in full configuration there. Gives you an idea. And then sort of the differences. The M1944 pack and the M1945. Really can't tell much except for the lower pack being a main difference. Okay, so I'm gonna change the angle here and let's get down to it. All right, guys, so I'm gonna show you the breakdown of the M1945 field pack that's really late war, World War II or Korean War. I've watched a ton of original footage, like Operation Grenade, like in February and March 1945. I really could not pick out one of these packs, obviously. That being said, I imagine new recruits, guys in England, coming over to France, etc., and like 1945 in the occupation force would probably eventually get these. But to get into the front, pretty difficult. I've seen some 1945 dated ones. This one's 1951. So again, makes more sense for Korean War. So that being said, for ease of showing you everything, I've kind of already detached everything. So you got your M1943 entrenching tool. I've already disconnected from the eyelets. I find the center setting is the best. One is way too low and it really sticks up your butt. One's kind of way too high, which I guess is not a big deal, but it just looks awkward. So I tend to keep it just right in the middle there. So that's the tool. What else we got here? So you can see the eyelets. Now I've already disconnected these straps. So again, same as the M1928 haversack connections. So you can take that off, horseshoe pattern, blah, blah, blah. And now you get down to the brass tacks of the pack. All right, so I've just removed it from the belt to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So again, blanket strap on the top, I've sort of tightened up. That way it's not flopping around. Now the side ones, I guess you can see the bayonet lugs for the attachments here. You can go through. You can fit something a little bit bigger, a few different tools there as well, which is kind of nice. And when you look to the back, that's when it gets freakishly overwhelming. All right, so I kind of reconfigured because I figured it's going to be easier to show you from the ground up kind of how you build this. So these are the suspenders. The one complaint I have about this bag especially is these are the main pieces that attach to the suspenders. But really without the suspenders, you can kind of hook this through here, make it work, but it's so tight that's barely even a backpack. I can't imagine anybody fitting their arms through there. So realistically, my pet peeve with this, that's why I don't understand why it's such an improvement. It requires the suspenders. You can't wear it alone as a backpack. It's got so many straps and things coming off of it that unless it's in full configuration, literally I see it to be a bit of a pain. Okay, but anyways, let's show you how it sets with the suspenders. So I'm going to sort of try to remember myself here. So the best way is to flip these upside down first. Sort of get an idea of what we're doing here. So we've got to orient this to the bag. There's the long part of the suspenders to the top of the bag. All right, so sorry, we're running out of space in the video, but yeah, so basically orient your straps. These clips are at the top. Great, you're laughing. And then you get the ones that are attached to the bag and simply feed them through. No rocket science here, nothing to complicate it. Feed them through. And again, it's kind of counterintuitive because this buckle is not the size of this. Kind of what the buckle's purpose for, I guess, is kind of loop it through there. It's a little bit elasticized. That's the only difference I've really noticed in the M1944 suspenders. They had sort of a smaller loop and there was a bigger sized wide loop on the M1945. So I believe what you're looking at here is M1945 field pack with M1944 suspenders. But I cannot confirm as the date's just too faded out on there to really know 100%. And once you pull it through, you just kind of loop it back like so. That way you have it nice and attached and you can already see how it's turning into a backpack right away. Now the other thing you can do, I don't really always do it, but it's kind of good. You see this kind of, disconnects from your back kind of. So they give you another retaining strap like so, and that literally goes through this loop. Boom. It goes through one of these connectors. The middle one is always the safe bet, and you can adjust from there. In my opinion, there's only two usable ones. The other one is so close together that you really can't get this through. And then go through the center loop. Always making sure you're kind of keeping this flat. And again, through the next loop. Here, I'm trying not to turn everything backwards on you. And then through to the final, actually wait. I actually get it through here. Boom. Last one. And done. So now you have it through the buckles here, which is great. And then you got your retaining strap to keep this close to your body. Which, to be honest, as a taller guy, I prefer this off to give me more room, more space on this. That's just me. So you're gonna go through one loop, through the suspender, two loops on the bag, through the suspender, and through the third loop. And then pretty much you got your backpack. And again, whatever one you kind of feel comfortable linking it to, I'm sure there's some kind of standard for this. Again, this is more of a review rather than a formal how they wore it exactly. But you sort of got your backpack now. So you can hook that onto your suspenders and your lap, or you can wear it as a separate backpack. Either way. But kind of like I said before, I'm not really sure why this was considered an improvement. Definitely the size of it is a little bit more practical. Having all the straps, I get it. It's better for the blanket or the shelter, whatever you have hanging over. But it's it's just so complicated. The retaining strap helps for the E-tool bouncing around, but I don't know. I'm still a fan of the M1928. The M1936 musette bag doesn't really hold as much, but it's super straightforward, easy to clip on, clip off. So in my opinion, this is the complicated one that I think was too complicated versus the M1928 haversack that, or even the M1910 that gets that review. All right, so it's the M1945 Combat Field Pack and M1944 or M1945 Combat Load Bearing suspenders. And again, you can get it all, read about it in this lovely little book. All right, thanks guys.